Our next topic that we're going to talk about when it comes to measures of central tendency is going to be talking about our mean absolute deviation, or our MAD. So the MAD is actually a number that represents a data set. The MAD is the average of each number's distance from the mean of the set of data. So we're going to be looking at, first of all, a set of data, calculating the mean, and then we're going to go through and pick and find out how far away from the mean is every single data point that we have in our data set. And then we'll actually find a mean of all of those distances is really what's going on. So we're going to use a chart that I have down here to help us find the MAD easily. And for us, for our chart, we actually are going to have to add on 2 extra pieces just because we had a little bit of extra data. So in our data set, we had an 11, we had a 12, we had a 13, we had a 14, a 14, a 15, a 15, a 16, a 20, a 20, and then I'm also going to add on just 2 extras here. We had a 21 and also a 28. So I'm going to kind of separate quick 3 columns here real fast. So this is our data, our mean, and then our difference column. So our mean we did calculate back in that first lesson, and that was 16.6. So really we can just go ahead and fill that in all the way down here. So we can just, we'll draw an arrow for this round because there's a lot of them. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through and do a subtraction problem in each one of these. Something to note is you can do 11 minus 16.6 if you would like to. You're going to get a negative answer, but every time you do that, you're going to actually just put down the absolute value of that. So even though I got negative 5.6, I'm going to write 5.6. If you would prefer to avoid the negatives, you can just take the bigger number and then subtract the smaller number, but then you have to kind of pay a little bit close attention here. So for the first one, I get a difference of 5.6. When I do 12 compared to my mean, my difference is 4.6. And 13 is going to be 3.6. And 14 is 2.6, and that's a duplicate. And then 15, we have 1.6, and that's a duplicate. And 16, we have 0.6. And for 20, we have 3.4, and that's a duplicate. And then for 21, we had a difference of 4.4. And for 28, we actually have a difference of 11.4 then. So our next step is to take all of these differences, and we had to go over that extra column, and we're going to go ahead and add those all together. So take a second, add together all of your differences, and then we're going to put that right here in the sum box. So your sum of your differences, I got 45.4. And then I go through and I count up how many pieces of data I had. So there were 12 pieces of data. So now I'm basically going to find an average using these 2 numbers. So my 45.4 divided by my 12, and I get 3.783 repeating. Most times with our MADs, especially if we have a decimal that kind of keeps going, we're going to go ahead and round to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to go ahead and take our MAD to be 3.78 for our data set here that we have today. And that is it for your lesson. That is how you calculate MAD. So you follow the same steps and you'll do some practice with this today. You'll have a chart just like this in the class kick as well.